Hey, Steve Zook here. Welcome back to Pokesoo channel and the Guitarladder system. Hey, I want to share cycle number 200. Some of my chord cycles are very short, some are much longer, but they all integrate the 10 systems of improvisation. I'm realizing by studying the Horace Hatchett files, as well as studying some of my notes from as far back as 40 years ago, what I started doing about 40 years ago was coming up with ways to connect chords in a variety of ways. And what this has done, not just like these books that just have a bunch of chords and do this and whoopee, but actually putting chords together in a very musical way that use the 10 systems of improvisation, whether it's contrary motion, diatonic, symmetry, intervallic, secondary dominance, chromatic, whatever it might be. And this has been incredible because the material in the Guitarladder system, I think that's why it's so powerful, and I've had such tremendous results, because you start working this stuff, and the way I presented it really does teach the subconscious mind. And when you're not even practicing, your subconscious mind is piecing this stuff together, because it notices, like Horace Hatchett used to talk about, smooth voice leading, the interior and exterior movement of chords. And the way my chord cycles are is they sound very musical, and it really is like musical steroids. I don't blame people out there if they're a little skeptical. I know I'm very enthusiastic about this, but it works. I mean, I've just seen incredible results. So if you love to play guitar, just go for it. You got a 3-year guarantee now. At the end of 3 years, if you don't agree, you've taken a huge leap, you get your money back. But here, check out cycle 200, and those in the system, email me. I'll send you this one if you want. It's nice and short. I know you're probably busy working other material, but check it out. See, that's a beautiful little cycle. Minor 9 sound to kind of a minor major chord. And just so you know, any chord can have a ton of different names depending on what you look at as the root note of the chord, and you can really get hung up in names. Again, I go back to what Joe Pass used to say, simplify your thinking, or what Larry Coryell talks about, get the sound of the chord. It's more important the sound of the chord and the color of the chord. Is it a high tension, low tension? The color of the chord, that's more important. But here, so we have this. So we have this. Let's start here. I could just play it kind of more. It's hard for me not to want to add some notes. And this is something that you want to play with. Maybe you try it, This is a great chord here, because when you do that form like that, kind of got that from Ted Green, you're getting the 11th of the chord and the 13, and you pick up the 13 with the side of your finger. But cycle 200 is a great example of a nice little chord connection. And see, when you learn 200 of these things, the Guitarladder system is so powerful because you just keep learning new ways to connect chords, and your brain just kind of goes, oh, okay, kind of turns a light switch on. I'm not saying this happens overnight, but it happens. And it's cumulative. It's really powerful. So, my studies from Joe Pass when I was young, I worked with Horace Hatchett, who taught Howard Roberts how to play. Howard Roberts started the Musicians Institute in Hollywood, one of the premier guitar and music schools. But like I said, I worked with his teacher. Horace Hatchett taught him when he was a young man in Arizona. So Guitarladder is all my own material, but the legacy goes way back to some great players. And the Horace Hatchett files are incredible. And I'm studying those files recently, as well as looking at some material I did about 40 years ago. I started taking notes on all this about 40 years ago. I'm beginning to realize what I've done. I've really pieced together a program that there's nothing like it out there. Most chord books and whatnot just kind of run of the mill. I mean, they may have progressions or whatever, but it's not really beautiful voice leading. And a lot of my cycles almost sound like a little chord melody tune or something. And they all teach the 10 systems of improvisation naturally. It feeds your brain. It feeds your right brain, so you can learn. It can just flow back out. So anyway, so this here, little contrary motion there. See that? Because here the treble goes up while the bass comes down. So a little contrary motion. Now you could use that and say you're messing with all the things you are. Suppose you're just kind of doing it like this. more interesting, start with this polychord. Or bichord. It's two. It's really more of a bichord. Two chords. It's a major 9 and a minor 7. So you have. See here how lush that is. That's such a more beautiful chord than just. So you have this. Now add some shading. You hear that? As opposed to just add. Okay, and then you could do this here. Add the shading again. See that? So this is what's interesting about music. Maybe come up a half step. Or you could be up here, depending on what you want to do. You could do that chord. So you could use this idea here. I like it. I like coming up a half step. I think that adds a nice musical sweet tension. So we have. So let's start here. Come up half step. See, that's nice. Creates sweet tension. And then here, little color, right? You could do that, and then add the tension. See, it's all about being creative. I mean, if you just play through a standard, this is what I hear a lot, and you just keep everything the same, it gets boring, okay? Sometimes it's good to play it normal the first time and then add more augmentations and color. But Horace Hatchett used to talk about that a lot as shading, just as like I did there. And like I said, that little technique there of doing a progression and then coming up a half step, I've heard Joe Pass do that a lot too. It sounds cool, you know. Okay, and then you come up a half step, right? And start the tune. And then a little shading, right? More shading. I'm going to stop right there. But yeah, little thing. See, when you get 200 of these and all the cycles, like I said, I can't emphasize this enough. I want people to understand that if you spend an hour a day on the right material on guitar, you're going to make a quantum leap. But I haven't seen anything else out there that has this. This is a result of 40 years of work, and it really works. And all my cycles teach something different, whether it's showing you, you know, cycles of fourths, whatever it might be, you know, even cycle 1. But anyway, I got to make these shorter so that they download. But seriously, folks, if you this is not marketing hype, but if you want to discover, you know, how good you can actually become on the guitar, and you're willing to have a little focus and be positive, order the Guitarladder system. It's $199. It's now got a guarantee. You can't lose. It's an absolute tremendous value. Take care.